What if the secret to shattering the tech glass ceiling isn't just about working harder, but mastering the energy and presence of a fearless leader? The amygdala stress center shrinks by 20% with consistent anabolic energy practices. What does it mean? How do you coach women to rewire their brains for fearless leadership? Join us as we explore how to claim your power, amplify your impact, and learn actionable strategies to build the career you deserve. Welcome to PhD with Woman on It, Hack the Future. My name is Beata Young, and today's PhD Positivity Hack delivered will be by our guest, Hope Ying. Topic: how to shatter the glass ceiling and be a fearless leader. Episode 183 starts here. Let me remind you, this is a grassroots community that focuses on women on IT, an inclusive forum of women in technology, startups, and female leaders who are supported by men as well. And I bring heart to that hustle because empathy is my mojo, empathy is my energy, and empathy is critical to being a fearless leader. In this episode of Positivity Hack Delivered, Hope Ying, a renowned tech executive, ICF certified executive coach and advocate for women in tech, will share her inspiring journey. From an immigrant to a powerful tech leader, Hope has coached women tech leaders to career success, directly contributing to numerous promotions. With her proven expertise and a mission to elevate women's presence in tech, she's transforming how women shape their legacies. Hope, thank you so much for joining this recording. Where are you joining us from?
I am joining you from Columbus, Ohio. Hello. It's
Hello.
an honor to be here with you.
Fantastic. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is a pre-recorded podcast. The more likes we get, the sooner we're going to be on the live stream. Just saying. So let's go to the topic of energy, leadership, and emotions. Hope you've described leadership as energy in motion. How did your journey from immigrant to tech executive teach you to harness that energy to shatter glass ceilings?
Yeah, that's a great question. Beata, if you think about from an immigrant to executive, there's a lot of challenges, obstacles to overcome. In the beginning, I feel that I was just pushing through. I do what I can. I work really hard. But gradually, I noticed that we can't just work hard. We also need to work smart. That's where the energy leadership comes in. How can we be more strategic to chase after what we want, whether it's promotion, whether it's become a better leader or become a better parent? Energy is in motion. When you think about a leader, how they shows up, and you can have leaders enter the room, all of a sudden the room becomes quiet. That's a leader who is showing up as lower level of energy because people are scared, people are intimidated. But you can also have a leader enter the room, everybody shows their admiration, respect, but also equally contributing to a problem, to a solution. That's the type of energy leadership we're talking about. So through my journey, I learned how to be more strategic, how to show up at a higher level energy leader, and eventually get onto executive position, but also contributing back to the community and become executive coach, become an international speaker, and energy really helped me to feel more fulfilled and satisfied. Of course, I have a lot of other stories I can share with you.
Well, let's dive in some stories today. We won't be able to nail everything. However, I was wondering, how is that immigrant background really shaping your approach? Because, we know Asian holistic approach to life, to health. And I'm wondering what part it plays in your approach.
Yeah, so if you think about, for me as an immigrant from China, China is more of this Eastern country with the philosophy of harmony, right? So we love community. We sometimes suppress our feelings, our ideas, because we respect our elderlies, we respect our managers. However, when I immigrated to the US, that's not how corporate America works. Corporate America really respect different opinions, different perspectives, and together we come up with maybe one of the best solutions. So I had to learn to become more communicative, become more, I would say, louder of my voice instead of just listening to instructions. But of course, being an immigrant, because of my English skills, speaking English as a second language in the beginning, it was really hard. I couldn't express myself fully, even though I have an idea in my head, but I don't know how to translate into English. And then the people already moved on to the next topic. So again, coming to the US as an immigrant, I have to learn to communicate. And when you think about communication, a lot of people think about how eloquent you are, what kind of vocabulary you have. But throughout my journey, I learned that it's not only the words you say, it's also the body language, right? I'm using my hands a lot. And also the emotions you attach to the words. And how do you tell the story? Because as a technologist, often we think, oh, how many jargons you know, the technology you are familiar with, but it's also how you're going to tell a message to the right audience with the message that they can receive. Because when we communicate, it doesn't matter what you say. It matters how the people are receiving it. Did they receive the message? That's super important.
And also, I wonder about your name, because Hope is a really English name. So I'm wondering, what's the analogy here? Why did you come up with your name? Tell us.
Yeah, that's a great question. So my Chinese name is Yang Ling. It's actually two characters. Yang means colorful, brilliant. Ling means smart, clever. And normally the Chinese names are the wishes and the promises parents have to their children. So for a long time throughout my career, I used that name because it's not that hard for American to pronounce. However, in 2020, we know what happened, the pandemic. People lost hope. They were confined in their home. And that's also the time I was going through my coaching school, starting my own business. I thought about what name I want to give myself. So I actually worked with my husband on the name. And when we look at a couple different choices, in the end, I landed on Hope because that's truly what I want to give people. I want to give people hope. And through coaching and speaking, I want to inspire people. You can do this, especially for women in technology. We know a lot of times it can be hard, it can be challenging, but there is a hope. There is a better future that we can co-create.
Better ceiling, that not that glass ceiling. We need less revolving doors, which is another coined name for women leaving the corporate structure and moving to the next one because they are not appreciated. And the glass ceiling was coined in 1978 by Marilyn Lawden. Yet 45 later, only 28% of tech execs are women. So how do you rewrite that story, Hope? How do you bring hope?
Yeah, how do we bring hope? The answer is there is hope. Like you mentioned, even though right now it's only 28%, but comparing to 50 years ago, it is better, right? So I don't want to diminish that progress. However, we are grateful for the progress. We are grateful for what we have today, but there's more to do because of when I think about why it's not 50% instead of 20-some%. So the glass ceiling is invisible. It's when you think about at work in technology, how women are not progressing as they should have. I think there is a lack of role models. When I think about the representation in senior leadership, we don't have enough for women to look upon to. But also, let's not forget there is another element. It's called broken wrong. This is done by McKenzie and Lin Yin. What they found is at the first level of promotion, for every 100 men got promoted, there's only 81 women got promoted. So the ladder, when we climb up, it become less and less. Of course, we also feel the glass ceiling. And to shatter the glass ceiling, there are so many things we can do. That's where the strategy coming in, right? We can't just rely on work hard. We also need to look at who are our allies, who are our sponsors, who are our mentors, work with all the relationships that we have, helping each other, support each other to shatter that glass ceiling.
So we have to look holistically at our tools, what we have, how we can, because the only way we can improve our chances of shattering is by bringing tools. And one of the great tools, I think, is energy leadership. It's really fascinating. And maybe let's start with talking about the catabolic and anabolic energy. Explain first these terms.
Sounds good. So when I think about energy, even right now, you and I are exchanging energy, right? So catabolic energy is the thing that we feel like it's destructive, when we feel anxious about something, when we feel frustrated about something, when we feel worried, when we feel sad, all of that. We call that catabolic energy. They don't feel good. However, I want to say that catabolic is not bad. It's just a different type of energy. We need that sometimes. When we feel that we're hurt, we can be in that catabolic energy. We just need to be aware. On the other side is anabolic energy. This is the energy that we feel good, we feel happy, we feel calm, we feel peaceful. And that is normally when we are more productive, we are more creative. When you think about the energy at play, we do go from catabolic to anabolic all back all the time, just like the stock price. So I don't want us to think, oh, catabolic is bad, anabolic is good. It is. The key is that we are aware where we are and when to leverage what type of energy. For example, when we have to let people go, we may not be able to show we're happy, we're upbeating. Instead, we need to show maybe lower level of energy intentionally, strategically. So the key is to be aware and leverage them accordingly.
One other thing that I really liked about this methodology is the fact that we are being looked at, everybody has got a potential to become a leader.
Absolutely. So when you think about a leader, what is a leader? Leader is someone who can inspire other people to do more than they think they could. So every one of us is a leader. The difference is, did we choose to, intentional about it, or do we just by default? If you're a parent, you're a leader because you're leading your children. If you're a teacher, you're a leader. If you're a professional, you're a leader because you're working on projects. So we are all leaders, but how do we leverage what we have and also apply the energy leadership into leading our team, our family, our community. So if we go into the leadership, the energy leadership framework, there are 7 levels. The first one is as a victim. We can talk more into that, but I will just give you an overview. The first one is victim. There's nothing I can do. The second one is a fighter. You are wrong. I am right. We saw a lot of those in corporate, don't we? And then the third one, we start to move from catabolic to more anabolic. This is where I have a lot of responsibility. I'm coping. That's level 3. And then level 4 is care, help other people, like teachers and nurses and doctors and leaders. A lot of them show that level 4. And the level 5 is 1-1. This is where people, leaders start to accept other people's perspective and meet in the middle. We all win. And then the level 6 is where you have a lot of creative, you listen to your intuition, you care about the community. And then level 7 is the highest anabolic energy, which is the life is just it is, and we are absolutely passionate about what we do, and we love everyone unconditionally. If you think about it, it's very hard to enter that state. But with practice, we can touch upon the level 7 more and more. I can tell you that my level 7 has been increased since I started my coaching schools 5 years ago.
Oh, fantastic. So you've worked with women stuck in level 2, probably level 1 at some point. And what's a go-to strategy exercise to help them pivot to level 4, 5, higher levels?
Yes, you are absolutely correct that we all have level 1, level 2 sometimes. But in women, when I coach them, what I found is more on the lack of confidence, which is level 1, right? Level 1 is about, oh, I don't have enough skills. I am not trusting myself. I don't feel that I can do this. So the strategy, first thing is to be aware that you are in there. Sometimes we just feel that we don't have a choice. And that's, again, it's in level 1. But if you know the 7 levels of leadership, then you know for any single situation, we have 7 choices. So now you can look into, okay, I am in level 1 or level 2 right now. What other levels looks like? How can I step into that level if I choose to? And so start from being aware and then look into what the other levels look like, and then find ways to step into that. So those are the 3 steps.
So, and how do you apply that when you're working under stress?
Oh, that's a great question. Because when we are under stress, there is a reason to be in level 1, level 2. So here is what I recommend. When you are in level 1, level 2, because you are aware that you are in there, and really take some time to even slow down or take a deep breath, a couple of them. And that's when really in our brain, the chemistry, the chemical can flush out, right? Give it time. Often I say when you are under stress, if you slow down and take the time to think about, why am I in this situation? Of course, sometimes it's not our choices. For example, if somebody just cut through in front of you in a traffic, oh, all of a sudden we're in level 2. What are you doing? Did you see we're almost having an accident? But if you practice more often, for me, normal situation, a stressful situation like this become normal. It's like, oh, you must be in a hurry. Maybe you are late picking up your children. So for me, even think of that way, I'm already in level 4 instead of level 1 or level 2, because I care about the other person, what's going on in their life. And so if you think about slow down on ourselves, but also think about from other people's point of view, put our feet into their shoes, and that is a higher level of thinking and energy.
Here's an interesting stat, and this is what you mentioned happened to you as well. 70% of high achieving women default to level 3. I must do it all. So, question, how do you break the responsibility trap?
So we are trained to be responsible, right? Ever since we are little, our parents ask us to do chores. That's the responsibility part. Of course, we all have our roles and responsibilities and chores we need to finish. However, if you think about a responsibility trap, and let's just look at work. You have a project you need to be deliver. You need to deliver. However, one of your team members is not collaborating. In this case, if you are in level 3, you will be, I'm responsible for the project. I need to get it done. I'm going to jump in. I'm going to do it because I want to have this project finished. And that's when we are feeling the level 3 energy, right? But if you move up just one level, that's where the level 4 energy. This is you put your focus to your team member. You may have a conversation with your team member on, hey, I noticed that you're not having this task complete. How can I help? What is blocking you? What support you need from me? That is the attention to them instead of us. That's our caring energy. But if you go to level 5, this is a win-win energy. Then you would ask your team member on where you are, what kind of help I need to provide, or maybe this task assigned to you, but you don't have the skill. Maybe it's better for another team member to do this and rather some other tasks you can take on. So if you look at the different options you have, we can certainly move away from just responsible, I need to get this thing done, but push through. Can you feel the energy difference, Bia?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I can feel the energy difference, and I can feel also that you need a little water break. I do. But however, before I have a sip, I wanted to ask you, because we all want to be the top level 6, 7. Would you say fearless leader is the one that is shattering glass ceiling and really showing up with the greatest potential? Would it be level 6, or do we have to be always level 7?
So that's a great question. I would say there's so many different kinds of leaders, including the leaders who shattered the glass ceiling. I wouldn't say that just because they shattered the glass ceiling, then they're in higher level of energy. Why? Because McKinsey had a report last year talking about why bad bosses continue to rise. I would say whether it's female leaders or male leaders, and their leadership styles can be different. You see some women, they push through using level 2 because they want to be at the top level. They want to get what they deserve. That's still level 2. But you also see leaders who are not only shattering the glass ceilings, but also bring other people along with them. Those type of leaders are operating at a higher level of energy. So I hope that makes sense, that no matter what you do, whether you are just a manager in the organization or you are the president of the United States, you could still operate at a lower level of energy.
That's a very, very valid point. We all know somewhere deep down in our memory is probably that bad manager who was managing us, and we just didn't feel very comfortable with them. So for listeners new to energy leadership, what is one daily ritual to start elevating their energy from, let's say, survival to thriving?
Yeah, I love that. because no matter how much knowledge we have, until we put our knowledge into action, it's not going to help us. Our life is not going to change. So one daily ritual I recommend is noticing and journaling. Those are the combining together. Even if you just journaling on your own phone, even though I advise against digital use, but that's all we have, then you can do that on your phone, or you can have your snow notebook carry with you. So you noticing an event, what happened, and what was your level of energy. That requires you to understand the 7 levels, right? Each level, what it is, and then just noticing that. And when you write that down, it actually really fundamentally shifts your thinking. Because we human beings are trying to find patterns, right? When you write that down in a week, in a month, you would find the patterns. For example, for me, my pattern would be when I deal with my children, if they roll their eyes, then I felt disrespectful to me. I got hurt, then I would be in level 2 energy. But because of those practices, I was able to move up to level 4, eventually level 7. That's how I reconcile with my children, because I was a single mother raising them on my own and with demanding work. And I didn't have all the patience to always operate at higher levels. But because of those practices, I was able to build a loving relationship with my children.
So were you raised similarly by your parents? I'm wondering, because Fearless, Chinese tiger mama, as we know, is not necessarily forgiving.
Yeah, I think I wasn't, because I think the parents have done their best with what they have known. We were not raised. I was raised in a loving family. My parents worked really hard. They gave me a lot, whatever they can. But the whole country was so poor. We didn't have a lot of material. They didn't have all the tools and skills that I had. So I would say that when I watch them, how they handle conflict, what I have seen was avoid conflict. Like my mom, if she's very frustrated on something, she would just stop talking and build a cold wall in between she and her and my dad. So I would say that they gave me enough for being a good person, care about other people. But some of the skills that I had to learn throughout life, throughout raising my own children, becoming a better leader, all the different type of leadership training, including coaching.
You've coached women through promotions using the energy leader principles. What's a client's before and after profile that still gives you goosebumps?
When I coach them, we look through what they can do, what they are thinking or behaving, how that helping them or preventing them from success, and also look around the system, the organization, the team. What do they need to be able to step up, to be able to be promoted in their work? And sometimes it involves leaving that organization and joining a new organization to get a better salary, better manager, or a better title. So when I have clients text me on, here is what happened, I got more pay, or I just got the promotion, or I just get a new job, that's when I got the goosebump, because when you change or impact another person's life, there's nothing that can compare with that kind of experience.
Beautiful. Well, this really aligns with my line of thought because I have to share with our lovely audience the moment that I formulated Woman on IT. I wanted to make sure that I am surrounded by leaders. It's so much easier to do any movement, any shift in mentality when you let others lead as well that change. Let them be part of change. Make sure that they shine, that they are showing their best potential. Energy leadership teaches that how we lead matters more than what we do. How do you help women align their energy with their core values to lead authentically?
Yeah, that's great. I agree with you that when we want to do anything, we can't just do it alone. We want to work together with other leaders, especially, I would say, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, right? So really look around, who are your allies, who are in your circle. So we all have our own core values. What I say would be the core values you have and the energy that you express are kind of parallel, but also overlap. If your core values are to maybe contribute to the world, either by working in technology or climate change, whatever that is, even doing that, things that align to your core value, you still have 7 different ways of doing that. And so that's where I think leaders can overlap with your core value and how I show up energetically to work for you. If we say, hey, I really admire this leader, and I think we can really collaborate to make a big difference, I'm going to reach out and I'll see what opportunities are out there for us. Maybe sometimes collaboration can take years to form, but we are operating at level 5 and above.
Here's neuroscience nugget. Standing in a power pose for 2 minutes boosts testosterone by 20%. How do you teach clients to embody confidence? As you mentioned, some, energy has to transpire through our bodies, not just our voice. So how do you teach clients to bring that confidence before they even speak?
I love that statistics. I know there's also a tech talk by Amy Cuddy. Like you mentioned, if you do power pose for 2 minutes, that will really give us, our brain, indication or a hint that I am confident, I have what it takes to do the work, and we are equal. But if you think about it from an energetic point of view, when we feel that we're less confident, we close in, we minimize our physical space as well. So when I coach women in confidence, even for interviews, the first thing you want to think about is energetically, the interviewer and me, we're equal. So when I coach them, it's not so much about the question and answers. How do you give up that answer? It's more about, think about fundamentally, you are as equal with other people. You are skillful. And even during an interview, we understand a lot of times is, oh, I really want that job. I really hope that they like me. I really hope that my experience is what they're looking for. But I ask my clients, straighten up their spine and saying, if you don't hire me, it could be your loss because I have so much to offer. So thinking that way really gave them the power, the confidence in any environment they show up.
It sounds like, Hope, you've got to change your name to Guarantee. With all these strategies today, I have a lot of notes. And one of the things you've said, everyone is a leader by choice or default. So how to make that choice happen for those who are still trembling with public speaking, with their energy level?
That's a great question. So you're right. Everyone is a leader, either by default or by choice. So I think when people choose to say, I'm a leader, it energetically it's already, you feel confident because it's my choice. By default, it means that we'll just go on life without thinking too much of it. We're just thinking about, hey, I have a job. The reason I have a job is because I need a salary. I need a paycheck to support myself or my family. That's what we meant by default, right? Without intentionally think about, I step up as a leader. This is how I show up. This is how I lead a team, because whatever that because is, you need to fill the blank, right? So for me, I show up the way in the early stage of my career is because I just felt that I can help to contribute to solve a problem. And then later on, as right now, my purpose is to help more women in technology to step up into their leadership positions, to change the dynamic of leadership representation in technology. So that is my why. So think about, what is your choice? How can you, once you say, okay, I choose to be a leader, and then it will come to how. If you made the choice, you want to step up as a leader, how do you do it? How do you do it in a way that you feel authentic? You feel you're confident. You feel that you're showing both you care about other people, but also your own competency, your own skills, or your own expertise. So it is really a science and our art to be able to become a great leader.
Well, it sounds so easy to do, but when emotions are high and we feel this systemic bias, it's really difficult because, well, if you look at Katherine Johnson, you mentioned we have gone through a lot of changes, but change is not happening fast enough. Katherine Johnson calculated Apollo 11's trajectory, but ate in a segregated lunchrooms. How do you channel that legacy of quiet resilience into loud impact?
Wow, that's a great question. Also, I agree that she made such great contribution, but may not be recognized by the society, by the history, right? So I think when it comes to leadership, every leader may have their own leadership styles. In this case, Katherine Johnson was able to persist, and she has the skills. She has the math skills, but also I think this can be my assumption or guess that she believes in herself. When we believe in ourselves, that's already a higher level of energy. When we don't believe in ourselves, we're in level 1, level 2 energy. That's lower catabolic energy. So it doesn't matter whether you're quiet or you're loud. It's about intention. It's about your choice. It's about, I'm doing this because I am very clear on where I'm going. I'm very clear about my style. I'm very clear about I'm doing this with this approach because of my choice. And we can be quiet, we can be introverted, but that doesn't mean that their energy level is low. And you can see a lot of great leaders, they're introverted, but they are thinking about the future. They're thinking about, how can I benefit the whole world? How can I make a positive difference in the world?
You left quite a legacy. You co-led a Women in Tech initiative impacting 1,400 women and many generations. What's the most radical act of allyship you've seen transform a workplace?
So when I was working for a Fortune 25 company, I was a co-lead of Women in Technology. We had, in our local chapter, we have 1,400 women technologists together, form the community. We share what our current challenge is, what's our strategy to advance in our career. But we also have great allies. We have executive sponsors who are male. But when you think about, in the beginning, we said not only we need to work hard, but also work smart. Having allyship is a part of the strategy. We can't do it alone. When 70% of the senior leadership are men, we have to work with what we have. So having those all kinds of allyship, not only from our own colleagues, but also both internal and externally. Even myself, being a business owner right now for coaching and speaking, I have allies who would advocate for my program, who would advocate for my leadership, including you, inviting me onto this podcast. I know hopefully I could contribute to your community, but also you are helping me as well. So we all need allies. I think one of the misconception for allyship for women especially is that we don't feel comfortable leveraging other people. We feel that it's like I have an agenda, but I would invite you to think about why you have that kind of mindset. Because if other people is doing some great things and you are able to advocate for them, maybe some other people come to you to say, can you help me? Can you support me? I would be willing to do that, right? So if we think about leveraging our allyship, is a win-win situation, which is, by the way, level 5 energy, because in the end, it benefits everybody. It benefits you and the person, and also it benefits the world. Because of that allyship, we are sharing more of ourselves. We are getting more things done. To me, it is a great strategy, and we should put ourselves into a community, because we all need the support system for us, especially when we are feeling down, when we need some support. I really love or encourage anyone to find their own communities.
And that's a great segue to me to encourage those who are listening today. Leave us a little comment, little thumb up or a heart, just a little trail of data that algorithm we can recognize and push our conversations further and make that ripple effect. Now, as an immigrant, you've navigated cultural and professional barriers. What's the one phrase you wish every woman doubting her worth could unlearn?
Women leaders are everywhere. They're not hard to find if you take the time and initiative and really intention to do that. And so the question is a word or phrase or a habit to unlearn, correct, Beata?
Yes.
There's so many we have to unlearn. Like you mentioned, as an immigrant, I really have to unlearn a lot of things because the way I was brought up, the principle that I was taught. So if I have to choose one word, I feel that it might be a phrase that it would be that I am enough. I think we are being told so many times of no, or you're not enough, or you don't have this skills, or you don't have the leadership presence or executive presence. We hear that a lot. So tell yourself that you are enough. And it doesn't mean that we do not continue to learn. We are continuing to develop ourselves, but we're enough to do whatever in front of us. We're enough to lead the company. We're enough to develop a product. We're enough to contribute to the success of the company. We're enough to lead a community like you, Beata. So we are enough.
Oprah Winfrey says, think like a queen. A queen is not afraid to fail. Failing is another stepping stone to greatness. Isn't it great?
I love that.
Absolutely. And I love your comment when I suggested this question to talk about soft skills. You said, no, these are human skills. So let's talk about the top 3 human skills all career-driven females, in your opinion, should have.
Yes. So I know that in the past we talk about hard skill and soft skills. Hard skills are the one that you have to finish your job, work. For example, if I am a software engineer, I have to know how to code. That's a hard skill. And then soft skill is not soft. They're so hard to learn, so hard to master. So for me, I want to call them human skills because it's a part of us as humans. How do we work better with each other? To me, the most important thing is about emotional intelligence, which is aligned with the energy leadership, right? So emotional intelligence is about our self-awareness of our emotions, all spectrum of the emotions we may feel, upset, sad, all the way to passionate, joyful, peaceful, all of that. So not only we need to be aware, we need to be able to manage our emotions. If we are under stress, how do we show up? The second thing I want to talk about is that's super important for human skills is communication. Communication. A lot of times we think communication is a message. It's not. Communication is about what to say, who to say to, and when to say it, where to say it, and how many times I'm going to communicate. And it's super important for individual, for a leader, and for organization. We have found that study have found that the organization is under communicating for a matter of 10 times, which means that the company can communicate 10 more times for whatever they want to do, because each person need to understand why the initiative need to carry on. Third human skills to me is the SQ. What is SQ? SQ is social intelligence. Social intelligence is where we understand a complex social situation, because often we say people have the ability to read the room. That means they have the ability to understand under a complex social situation who are in the room and why they're in the room, what they want from this interaction, what they need, what information they need, what kind of decision we need to make at the end of the meeting, at the gathering. That's what I call social intelligence. It also includes who are in my network, who is my ally, who is my advocate, all of that.
Talking about Eleanor Roosevelt's tea bag experience. Women are like tea bags. We don't know our true strength until we are in hot water, band-aid situation, or there is some strategic solution from hope. Let's hear what is your approach and how are you brewing?
Yeah, I love that question. So I think about our human potential. Sometimes I feel that majority of us are not living to our potential. And you're right. And sometimes when we are putting into the hot water, that's when I realize how strong we are. Unfortunately or fortunately, I have been in hot water quite often. One particular case was, this is about a decade ago, that I was a single mother raising my 2 young children all by myself. But my dad was also having stage 4 lung cancer, and I was staying with him in the hospital. And the city issued a warning to me that my lung was too tall, about a foot tall, that I need to have the lung mode. And so when I was in that hot water situation, it's really frustrating. It's really desperate. And I ask the question, like, why me? Why is life so hard? But what I learned is asking those kind of questions doesn't help. But asking help itself helps. And it was very hard for me to ask for help because of the culture that I grew up in. Asking help was considered as being weak because you can't have it done yourself, so you have to ask for other people's help. But during those challenging moments, that's when I learned to ask for help, because I can't do it alone. So I asked my friends for help when my children were having fever and lying in bed, when my dad was in the hospital in a bed. And my friends loved to help. And so that's one thing I learned. And the other thing I learned is it's easy to give up, because that's the solution there, give up. But I didn't give up. Instead, I was able to push through and get promoted several years later. So I would say that don't stop what you want to do. Don't stop chasing your dream. And the hot water moment is actually the time to learn time management, prioritization, some of the essential skills becoming a great leader.
Let's go into number one book you can sit and think, oh, I wish I read it before I started my career.
Yes, I love reading books. One of the books that I recommend, I wish I had read it before my career, is How Women Rise by Sally Segerson and Marshall Goldsmith. The reason that I recommend that is in that book, they talked about 12 behaviors and habits that average women would face and experience, myself included. When I read that book, I'm like, I had this. For example, some of them include, like, we are not comfortable to claim our credits. We also always say, oh, it's nothing, it's the teamwork. Don't do that. Do that. And so it's teamwork. And here's my contribution. And the other thing is, we are very good at building relationships, but we're not good at leveraging relationships, which I talked about before, that we feel like leveraging a relationship is kind of, I have an agenda, it's too practical. But I encourage you to leverage your relationships. Because it's a smart way to do. We talk about this as a social intelligence, because it's a win-win situation, higher level of energy. Other things about that we value too much on our expertise.
And since we are mentioning that you like to tap into other people who could teach you, who would be the person you would like to learn from if you had an opportunity to invite them for a private breakfast anywhere in the world?
Oh, wow. Hey, I could have a couple choices, but on this one, I want to meet Michelle Obama in person someday and invite her for a breakfast. That would be my life dream. The reason that I pick her is Michelle Obama is a role model to me. Is a beacon. She is a beacon. As you know, that when former President Obama was running for Senate or president, so he had to be away from home a lot. So almost like Michelle was raising the children by herself, and she also had her own career. And so I read her book, 2 books, Becoming and The Light We Carry. So in the book Becoming, she talked about how during lunch break, she would go purchase clothing or other stuff that her girls need, and eat a cold sandwich in her car. And that seems to be very resonating to me as a single mother And sometimes I had to do that as well because I didn't have other time to go shopping for a school supply for my children. And so it is very resonating. And as a former first lady, she did a lot of great things for the country, for the young people. She created initiatives to remove or reduce the child obesity, the school meal supply, and all of that is really, she is my role model. I hope that I can meet her in person and have a meal with her someday.
In your own home.
In my own home, because I really enjoy having in-depth conversation in a relaxing environment.
Excellent. Can you please give us your favorite life lesson quote and how did it change you?
Yes. I think the quote sometimes can give us energy and also remind us beautiful things. For me, this one quote really stayed with me for many, many years. It is, life isn't a fire, but it is still a gift, by Regina Brett. She is a columnist. This quote, about a decade ago, more than a decade ago, I put it onto my cubicle wall when I was in the office. The reason is that at the time I was going through a very difficult divorce. I was raising my 2 children by myself. I was also leading global teams and working on very difficult projects. In the same time, I was so unsure about the future. I didn't know whether my children will grow up well without their dad in their life. I didn't know whether I would be able to find another partner. So all of that, often I just, while I was typing with my keyboard, I would have tears in my eyes. I would rush to the bathroom, clear up my tears, and come back, continue to work. So that quote really told me that life sometimes seems to be unfair. If you look at the current situation, the women underrepresentation, whatever that situation that you do not like, it may looks like unfair, but it is still a gift. Looking at today, the sunshine outside of my window, that's a gift. You know, other people may be experiencing bad weather and other people may not have what we have. So knowing life can be hard sometimes, it isn't fair, but it is a gift to all of us. And so looking for the beauty in our life really give us energy and power to move forward.
If your actions create a legacy that inspires others to dream more, learn more, and do more, and become more, then you're an excellent leader. As Dolly Parton said, I hope you're an excellent leader, and thank you very much for inspiring us today. And that's it from episode 183 of the PhD live stream. Thanks to our guest, Hope Yin. To stay updated and ensure you never miss a positivity hack delivered, follow Woman on It and turn on notifications to be alerted once a video has been released. As always, our positivity quote comes from positive thinking only and goes, look for something positive in each day, even if some days you have to look a little harder. Today is your day to hug the future, hug the positivity you want. Thank you.
Thank you.